Today, we're looking at a free plugin that will get your 808 sounding like you're in FL Studio using that fruity soft clipper. Listen, there's a lot of misinformation going around about FL Studio, especially some famous producers going around claiming that older versions of FL sound better than newer versions.
I still use Fruity Loops 11 and 10. Like, it looked totally different and all that. But they don't have that for a Mac. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's a different sound than what everybody else doing. That's why our shit hit harder than everybody else.
But nonetheless, I'm going to show you how to get that sound in any DAW of your choice. So let's jump right in. Now, to get this effect to work properly, there's a couple quick things that we need to have in order first. You're going to want to use a Spins or a similar clean sounding 808 sample. I'm going to be using this one. You want to use a spin so that when we boost the volume and it hits the soft clipper, we're getting a nice saturated fuzzy effect. If you use something that has a lot of high end in it already, you're not going to want to crank it up that much and you're not going to be able to get that effect. Next, let's cut the lows out of our melody that may interfere with the 808. Now, you might not want to just crank the lows out of your melody, right? You're going to lose a lot of body, feeling, and fullness in that sound. So you could do a cut like this, and let me show you one other little trick that is amazing. We're going to use FabFilter Pro Q3 because we can actually sidechain our 808s using this. So down here, we're going to go to our sidechain and we're going to go to the 808. Next, let's actually get rid of that. I want to put a point in here and we'll put this maybe around like 130, 140 hertz. You can play around with this later. Next, we can pull this down right here on the outer edge and you can see it's going to give a green sort of effect here. I want to actually change this to a notch. We'll change it to a low shelf. Next, to get this effect to work, because by default, it's just going to be going all the time, what we're going to want to do is click this auto button, and this right here is going to engage the sidechain. So when the 808 hits, it's going to duck. So you can play with this threshold here so that it's not just completely ducking it nonstop. As you can see, it's just complete. You might as well just cut it at that point, right? So let's pull this up a little bit. There you go, you can see it's starting to come up a little bit. And as you can see, when the 808 isn't playing, it's not ducking the lows. So the melody returns, the fullness of the melody comes back and we're not wasting any of that. Next, we gotta talk about your 808 notes in pattern because that makes a world of difference. First off, it needs to be in the scale of your melody. If it's out of the scale, it's gonna sound bad anyways. You might as well just throw it in the dumpster. So assuming that you have it in the right scale, the notes you use are going to make a lot of difference, right? Like lower notes like this are going to sound really fuzzy and distorted versus like higher notes like this. It's going to give you a completely different sound. So depending on the scale that you're in, you might want to adjust the scale up or down or transpose it a couple to make it so that your 808s sound like they're hitting the right notes. For me personally, I love the notes between like this range right here, from anywhere from like E to B. Those all sound really great to me, especially when they're hitting that soft clipper. Let's take a look at this. We're about to take a look at this plugin, but the last thing that you need to make sure you're doing is your 808 needs to be hitting loud. To get this effect, you want it punching above 0 because every dB above 0 is going into the soft clipper and soft clipping it, giving you that saturated, distorted effect that you want. You can play around with this depending on how much of that effect you want. You can see right now I have this hitting almost 4 dB over. We could pull this up more. And ultimately, you can add as much of this as you want. Let's hear everything. Alright guys, here is that free plugin. This is the Kilohertz Clipper, and Kilohertz has a bunch of essential plugins that are all free. And this thing looks almost identical to the Fruity Soft Clipper, so it's really easy to use, especially if you've seen one of those 1,000,000 tutorials that are on YouTube. So you can get an idea for how it works really well. But ideally, you're going to be playing with this knee value to get it to sound how you want. You can see as we pull that down, the effect is fading a little bit. So there you go, now your 808s are punching like FL Studio in any DAW of your choice, but you might need help making the beat to start with, right? There's a lot that goes into making a beat, from the drums to the melody to getting everything in scale. So if you want to see me create a beat from scratch with no edits, check out this video next.